What's good? It's your girl, Money Strings. We are here with impresario. I can't even say that word. That's terrible. Cut, start over, but we gonna keep that. That's a blooper. But we are here with Julius Darrington, A&R, record executive, producer, and probably a whole bunch more titles that I'm forgetting. This man is amazing. How about you, kind of give a little bit more details on yourself?
First off, thanks for having me. My name is Julius Darrington. I'm a label owner, manager, producer, A&R, entrepreneur, pretty much, jack of all trades and master of all of them.
We love that. We love that. A lot of people don't spend enough time mastering them. They just like, I do all these things, but they like kind of good at a few of them.
Right. Yeah.
So, question: what inspired you to get into music in the first place?
Man, just I grew up in music. My mom was heavy in the gospel world. She had a group called the Prodigals, and in the '80s, they were touring with the Winans. If anybody heard of the Winans?
Oh yeah.
And, me and my cousins, we grew up just, on the road with my moms and watching them harmonize and stuff like that in the hood, you feel me? And then we got involved with church, you know what I'm saying? We grew up like in the church and just did music all the time, you know what I mean? And we got a taste of the industry by seeing our parents, in the industry, in the gospel industry. So this is the 80s and I was a shorty, so that inspired me to get, involved with singing. So that's my first love in music.
So you sing too?
Yes, that's my first love, singing. So I started singing and harmonizing when I was, 8, 9 years old. But I didn't think it was special because my whole family did it. You know what I mean? Until I got in school, I started doing it to the little girls. As far as singing to the little girls.
What was your go-to song? I know everybody got a go-to song.
My go-to song, it depends on what time, you know what I mean?
Okay, so either elementary or high school.
Elementary, I should sing the Aisha song.
That's my middle name.
Aisha. I should sing the Aisha song by, what's the name of that group?
Another Bad Creation.
Another Bad Creation, yeah. I should sing that song. Then, I just started doing a lot of different songs, in the hallways and stuff like that. And I started getting attention. And I started to realize it was something special. I didn't know it was something special, because everybody in my family sang, so.
So what was did you continue that? Do you still go up to girls and be singing to them? I mean, grown women now?
No,
you be at the club like, hey, come here real quick, shawty.
No, I'm 40 years old now, so, I've settled down all those things, and it's just a good thing to still have, though, because the artists I've worked with, as an executive or producer, I've been able to use some of those talents that separate me from a lot of guys who just work on the business side. I'm also a creator as well. So I'll just use some of those things when I can. I've used my voice on a few occasions, for artists I've worked with. But, it gave me an introduction to the business. And since then, I've been able to just branch out.
So what do you love most about the music or the music industry?
Man, the music industry is a constant challenge, and I love a challenge because with social media and the internet, it's changing and evolving every day. There's always some new app, some new thing that's coming out, you know what I mean? And the music industry has changed so much over the last 20 years, it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my toes because now it's pretty much an even playing field. When I was coming up as a shorty, it was like, man, you go to the record companies and you send in your tapes or your CDs and you hope somebody call you back. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole game back then. It was very evasive and very mysterious to even get on the radio or get on TV or MTV or anything like that. Anybody you saw doing something like that, you automatically felt it was famous or successful because it was so mysterious on how, it actually happens. But now with the internet, everybody doing it. Everybody dropping records, everybody doing videos. So it keeps me excited because everybody got a chance, you know, and it's not just gatekeepers.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you gave us a little bit on your musical background already. So would you like to go more in depth and everything as far as like certain things since you've been, like, I know how it shaped you from, you know, your childhood with, you know, the church, your family and everything like that. So how has that like how have you used those skills, you know, in your career today?
Well, growing up in the hood, growing up in church, and my dad was in the streets, so I had a balance, right? You know, my dad, he has to have these big car parties, you know, and have all his homies pull up, and they play cards and play music, right? And you know, smoke, you know, all type of stuff, weed, you know what I mean? And it was totally different than what I was used to around my mom, you know? But it was a good vibe. It wasn't like nothing negative. It was just a different kind of vibe. You know, my mom, they was all in church and stuff like that, so that's a whole nother vibe, right? So I used to go hang out with my dad, and he would be playing different kind of music as well, right? He'd be playing Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke. You know, my mom be playing Fred Hammond, Clark Sisters, you know, the Winans, you know what I'm saying, all the gospel groups. So I was getting, you know, the best of both worlds with musically. And my dad had great musical taste. Of course, my mom had great musical taste. And I started to put those things together to develop my taste, you know. So that's how I got into really understanding what my taste was and what I liked as far as music is concerned.
Gotcha.
You know, and I just did that to shout them out, man, because they really inspired me to do this, you know, my parents. And I'm not going to lie, you know, I lost my mom in 2009, and she was one of my biggest cheerleaders, right? But that kept me going, you know what I mean? And my dad's still in my life, my father. He's a big supporter as far as, you know, just conversations and encouragement. But he's very important to what I was doing, because when I started singing, I had to go to his little car parties. He would make me sing to all his little female friends, you know? And it was really inspiring because I was getting real interaction and real reaction rather. And, you know, it let me know that I had a gift, so.
So I'm gonna branch off the questions a little bit. So you say you from the hood.
Yeah.
Where's that? Are you from LA? Where are you from?
I'm from a place called Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. Okay.
Ottawa Drive.
Ooh.
In Auburn.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Right, a couple of houses down from Petro's. Petro's corner store. You know, straight in the hood, though.
So give us a little background of, because nobody knows about Toledo. Nobody knows what it's like. What was it like for you growing up in the time frame that you went there?
Toledo is a very interesting place. You know, I've never been to a place that is filled with so many talented people, right? But as I've gotten older, I've started to make sense of it, because we only got a couple malls, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, there's not a lot to do there, right? So most people who got dreams, they focus on their dreams, you know, and they focus on their craft. So that's why people in Toledo, I think, are very advanced with their gifts. You know, if it's writing, if it's singing and rapping, you know, very advanced, because there's not a lot of distractions. You know, you got your little clique, you got your little homies, and that's it. You know, Toledo gave me you know, a lot of experiences, and it shaped me, you know, to be who I am as a man. You know, I can't say it was all pleasant. You know, where I grew up at, man, a lot of gang violence. You know, I've seen a lot of bad stuff, especially, you know, in the hood I grew up in. I've seen people shot, I've seen people robbed. You know, I've been robbed, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, all my homies that I grew up with, most of them was in the gang. You know, I'm gonna keep it real. I ain't gonna say what gang, because I don't want people to, you know, think I'm in the gang. But most of my homies was in a certain gang, and they all encouraged me to do music. You know, we'd be walking to school, you know, I'd bust out, start singing and something like that. And they never looked at it as something that was soft, you know what I mean? Because they looked at it like, man, you really can sing, bro. Like, man, you need to be doing that, bro. You know what I'm saying? They gave me that kind of love. I'm talking about real hood guys. You know, so that gave me a lot of encouragement because everybody, you know, want to be accepted for who they are. And when you're in junior high, elementary, sometimes you have gifts and talent that you kind of hide because you don't want people to judge you or people to look at you as weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I started singing and showing people my voice, I got nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it was.
that's a beautiful thing
yeah.
because, trust me, it wasn't always easy carrying a big old violin on my back to school.
Right.
Sometimes I had to, you know.
Right.
I didn't even know one of my the person who gave me my name. She actually like fought people on my behalf, and I didn't even know about it till like after.
Protecting your creativity. That's good. It's amazing.
But yeah, just having those gifts and growing up in the hood it can be very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it's difficult, you know.
Because you could have easily went that route at that time, and you know.
Absolutely, and I ain't gonna hold you. You know, a lot of times I was tempted to get into, you know, selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? All my homies sold drugs. You know, all my homies sold dope. I ain't gonna lie. You know, all of them. You know what I'm saying? I would see them with, you know, a new pair of Jordans on every week. You know what I'm saying? A couple of my homies had cars, and we was only 15, 16. And, you know, it was tempting, you know, but I stuck to the music because I seen the other side of it, you know. Quick story, I ain't gonna get too deep into it, kind of graphic. When I was 14, I was actually working on some music in my bedroom. You know what I mean? I had my boom box, you know, I was writing to some tracks because my stepfather at the time was a musician, you know what I mean? So when my mom married him, you know, we got real close because he actually could make beats. And somebody who can make beats in the 90s, that's like, wow, you feel me? Like,
magic.
You know, he had the MPC, he had a keyboard, the Roland D50, you know what I mean? He set it up in the living room, and we just sit there and work on music. So I'm actually working on a song at like 13 years old, and I heard some gunshots, pop, 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 pop. But I ain't gonna lie, that was common. You know what I'm saying? But something about these gunshots, it seemed too close. You know what I mean? So I went outside my front lawn, and there was another kid, you know, right there in my lawn, you know, shot to death. And those things happened a lot, and it let me see the other side of this. You know, it wasn't cool to die at 13 years old, 14 years old. And those things that happened that I saw kept me from being in the streets, you know. I could be around the streets. I can have people in my life that were of the streets, you know, but I stayed away from the total lifestyle of the streets because, you know, I saw that. Just keep it real, right?
Yes, and Toledo, that's, you know, that was in the 80s, 90s and stuff, and it's sad because it's like my little cousin, he got buried on his 13th birthday last year, so when he said that, I was like, hold it in, baby, hold it in.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because, like, and I don't talk about this. You know, I've done some interviews. I never like got into this part of my life, but people don't realize from the late '80s to the early '90s, it was this big culture shift, and a movie called Colors came out, right? And Colors, it changed the game because it opened up the eyes of a lot of people who are weaker minded to want to be in gangs, right? And my city went crazy that summer when the movie Colors came out. You know, it went crazy. It was like more gunshots than I've ever heard in my life. And I think the movie, I'm not gonna blame the movie, but the movie definitely put a lot of batteries and a lot of people back to want to get in gangs and start gang banging, you know.
I never heard like people use that movie. I always hear like the Scarface, you know, how that
Colors.
did it. Colors did it.
Colors, in my city, Colors had people walk around with the blue rags and the red rags and hats to the right, to the left. People fighting over rags. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, as time is going on, you see that, you know, people have gotten a better perspective on, you know, what was the purpose of these gangs versus, hey, you got on a blue flag, I'm gonna shoot you. But it literally was like that. If you had on the wrong color somewhere, you would get killed. You know, and that went on for a lot of my childhood, man. It was crazy.
I know that.
You know? But that kept me focused on what do I want to do, you know, to really do something different, you know, get up out of here. So,
So what was your transition like? How did you end up here from Toledo? Like, what was your transition?
man, so okay, so I got into really being an artist when I was in high school. Then after high school, I did my own project, you know, and it, you know, I could create a buzz for myself in my local town. I actually got charted. One of my songs actually charted. It inspired me. I got involved with some record companies and everything, and it didn't go through. So that got me interested in the business, because I'm like, you know what? Why didn't this work? You know what I mean? And I started to understand, hey, your manager wanted this, the label wanted that, and I got into the business side of it. And I realized the whole orchestration of putting a project together inspired me more than being an artist myself, right? That inspired me because one thing my mom told me when I put my project out, I was like 19, 20. And I put my project out, I put it on the internet. The internet had just started, you know, getting popular, right? I put it on the internet, you know, I got CDs pressed up. You know, some of my guys here remember that time, right? Got my CDs pressed up, I started selling my CDs. All the music was good because, you know, my family were real musicians. So it wasn't just no trash. It was really good mixed music, R&B music. And my mom told me, like, look, man, this music is good. I'm so proud of you. She said, real talk, the fact that you put this together yourself, people are going to pay you to do that. You know what I mean? She said, I've been trying to put together my own project for years, and you just did it in a year, right? So she inspired me to understand that the process that she noticed I loved was actually a gift, right? So that's when I started working with other artists, and it excited me even more than just working with myself. So I decided I don't want to be an artist. I don't want to be an instrument. I want to be the conductor. You know, I want to play the orchestra. You know, I want to help change somebody's life. I want to put somebody in the studio and give them their first record. I want to put somebody on their first tour. You know, I want to give somebody their first project, give them that hope. You know, so I started working with local artists, and I started changing their life. You know what I mean? I started signing artists back in my hometown, and I literally changed their lives. I put them on their first shows, release parties, tours, everything. And just the spirit in which they were inspired by the process inspired me more that I wanted to do this. I wanted to be on this side of it.
So
yeah, you talking about, did I answer your question?
Definitely.
I didn't talk about how I got to here, but I'll get to that.
Okay, we'll go back to that in a second.
Right.
But so another question I had. So when you were making your first project, and then when you got into helping other people,
right.
When you made your first project, who was your inspirations? And then when you started helping other people, you had to have different inspirations then, because
absolutely.
That's a whole different role and position.
Absolutely. My inspiration when I made my first project, first it was my homies, man, because my homies were incredible producers, you know what I mean, and writers themselves and artists. One of my homies' name is Black Smurf. He's Grammy nominated or Grammy winner right now. He worked with Music Soul Child and everybody. He was one of the homies I came up with as a shorty. My brother / cousin, he's Grammy nominated now, multi-Grammy nominated, and he's my mom's sister. You know what I mean? No. His mom is my mom's sister. He's my mom's sister.
I knew where you was going.
I'm sorry. His mom and my mom are sisters, so we grew up like brothers, you know. And he's incredible. And we actually got a studio downtown in Toledo, 18th and Madison. And we used to go down there and record and make music, right? So that kind of inspired me to really get serious, because I knew I had support. I knew I had people who really can help me do this, you know, on the musical side. You know, it wasn't no mystery where the music was going to come from. You know what I mean? So that inspired me, man, you know, and I was able to get support from them. They would give me beats and tracks and record me for free, you know, of course, because we family. And I put together my first project. As far as artists who inspired me growing up, it was Marvin Gaye, R. Kelly, Joe, Stevie Wonder, Sam Cooke, you know, those 5 artists, you know. were my favorite artists growing up.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then when you transition into pretty much being more on the business side,
Yeah.
who were your like business like inspirations?
Steve Stout, Barry Gordy, you know, mainly Barry Gordy, you know what I'm saying, because he was before Steve Stout
Mm-hmm.
and how he did Motown. You know, and Motown was right up the street from Toledo, right?
Right there.
So
you got to catch a flight to Detroit just to go
facts.
to Toledo.
Exactly. So Barry Gordy was a major inspiration. I started reading up on him and seeing how he did it, man. You know, he started his own company and label and created a whole sound in a time where black entrepreneurs didn't even exist, for real, you know, on that level, especially in music, right? And he broke the mold, and he broke through and created a global sound right out of a small old house in Detroit. You know what I'm saying?
You've been there before, right?
Yeah, definitely been there.
Yeah, I went there, I think, like twice for family reunions.
Exactly. So he was definitely an inspiration, reading up on him. Puff, you know what I mean? I started to see Puff come out of nowhere and put together projects, and, you know, he was this guy that kind of reminded me of something I wanted to be, because he was just excited about the process, you know? And I started to see him involved with different artists, Mary J. Blige, Biggie, you know, but he was one of the main ones that was behind the whole thing, right? So he inspired me growing up as well, on the business side, because I saw him be somebody that he wasn't just a creator, he was also the man behind it. You know, he was also the orchestrator. Steve Jobs, you know, yeah, Steve Jobs. You know, I remember when Apple first started getting popular, you know what I mean? I wasn't into computers, but I was into his whole presentations. He would have these presentations announcing certain things, like if it was the iPad or the iPod, you know, and his energy, how he took Apple from nothing to something. You know, I started reading up on him and studying him growing up, and he turned out to be this global icon, you know, but I was reading up on him and he was just a computer guy, you know what I mean? You know, so definitely people like that, man, people who turn nothing into something, you know, lemons into lemonade. You know?
I like that. So, okay, going back into the last question. So, how did you get here from Toledo?
Man, so in Toledo, I would say this. There's so much talent there, but it's a ceiling that you reach. When you really push hard to make it, you hit a wall, right? Because a lot of people in the music industry are just not there, right? So when I started my label, and I got my label off the ground there, I started doing tours and shows and everything with my artists. I just feel like I hit a wall because I didn't think I could get no farther, you know? So I'm gonna keep it real. One day I got depressed. You know, one month I got really depressed. Not because of nothing traumatic happening to me, but from my mom dying and, you know, me feeling like I can't get to the level I want to get to, or even get in the room to get to that level. It started to weigh on me because I'm very competitive. You know what I mean? Very competitive. I'm very driven. And I don't like doing nothing if it's not the best. I don't like being involved with nothing unless I know it's the best, you know, or I feel like it has the chance to be the best, you know. And I didn't feel like I had that chance in Toledo at a certain point. So, man, I was feeling real down and depressed, and God spoke to me. He said, in my spirit, he was just like, you need to move to LA in this next couple of weeks, or you're not gonna touch your dream. You know, and that's a true story. You know what I mean? People close to me know when I said I'm moving to LA. You know, well, you gotta have a plan, you gotta have a job, it's not like, you know, because I was down, I had my own studio there and, you know, business there. I said, I don't care, you know, I'm going there. God told me if I'm gonna touch my dream, I gotta go now, you know. So I sold some stuff. I sold my truck. I had a Lincoln Navigator truck, you know what I'm saying? It was really clean. I love my truck. Sold my truck, sold my studio, you know, sold clothes, sold furniture, all type of stuff, right? And moved out here with nothing, you know, and everything else started happening.
So, I'm trying to think of the guy's name from WGCI, I believe.
In Chicago?
Yeah. So, how does your story intertwine with Chicago? Because I know you have a lot of
Chicago ties?
Chicago
yeah.
ties also.
R. Kelly. You know, so when I moved to LA, I got involved with RCA Records. You know, that was my first toe into the game. You know what I
So
mean?
that was after you moved here.
That's after I moved here.
So I'm thinking you had so
Nope.
perfect. Okay,
Everything happened when I moved here.
let me not even go to Chicago. Let's
Right,
go
right.
straight here with
Right,
it. So
right.
keep going with the progress.
Man, so one day, I'm in Universal City, and I bump into a guy named Wayne Williams, right? And DJ Wayne Williams. DJ Wayne Williams at the time was the senior vice president of A&R at RCA, right? I knew who he was because I studied everybody. You know what I mean? I studied everybody in the music business. I can bump into somebody who's not even famous and know, hey, you work at Capitol. You know what I mean? Like a stalker, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just been so intrigued with the music business. I try to find out who anybody is. So Wayne Williams used to be head of A&R at Jive Records. When I was doing my music, I was sending my music to Wayne Williams at Jive Records. And Wayne Williams actually called me. I don't even know if he remembered this. He actually responded to one of my packages that I sent and said, hey, I like the music. This is not what we're looking for right now, but keep sending stuff, you know. And that was inspiring because Wayne Williams is the guy who discovered R. Kelly, right? And R. Kelly was one of my favorite artists growing up, you know, if not my favorite artist, you know. Oh, he definitely was my favorite artist, you know what I'm saying, growing up. So Wayne Williams was somebody I always had on my radar because I wanted to get signed to Wayne Williams as an artist. But as I grew and became, you know, passionate about being behind the scenes and working with artists, when I met him, he was on a different level, you know. So I met Wayne, and I'm like, man, what's up, man? You Wayne Williams, right? He's like, oh yeah, how you know my name? I'm like, man, you know, we worked together before in the past. You know what I'm saying? I said that real quick, and you know, we began to, you know, build a relationship. And I asked him one day, I said, hey, look, I want to work with you, you know. He said, hey, I'd love for you to work with me, you know. So I started working with him. He started putting me in the studio as an A&R assistant to artists signed to RCA to help, you know, with their direction. A couple artists that he had just signed, experimenting with, you know, as far as trying to help them, you know, cultivate a sound. And it was very inspiring, you know what I'm saying, to actually have a toe in the industry, you know what I mean?
To actually, and then especially considering like what you were going through right before.
Exactly. You
so
know.
It was really like your purpose was calling, and you had to
purpose
move.
calling me. So I'm in the studio with his artists every month, man, just helping him out, you know, helping him, you know, find records, find producers and writers and engineers. And it was just very inspiring, you know, just to work with somebody who was that high up in the business, in the music industry. So so one day, I guess he was, you know, impressed with my work ethic and, you know, with, you know, my character, because I always try to keep good manners and always try to be respectful of him because he was giving me an opportunity, you know. So one day, like 2 in the morning, he called me and was like, yo, man, you sleep? I was like, yeah, I'm up. What's up? He said, I want to introduce you to somebody, man. You know, I'm going to come get you. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, man, who's he trying to introduce me to at 2 in the morning? You know what I'm saying? Me and him never talked about R. Kelly at all. You know, we were together almost a year, you know. I never talked to him about R. Kelly, nothing like that. Because I was respectful to him. I didn't want to seem like, you know, I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the only reason why you're around.
Because I honestly, genuinely, you know, got a love for Wayne, and I loved what he was doing. So I'm interested in him, you know. So he took me to State Social Lounge in Chicago and introduced me to R. Kelly. And he
wait, but y'all were out here?
Here in L.A.
So y'all caught a flight at 2 in the
No.
morning?
We were here in L.A.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. R. Kelly was here in L.A. because he had a show in Orange County.
Gotcha. So I know now we know background,
Yeah.
early background, inspirations and everything. So what are you
Right.
currently working on right now? Like what projects?
Man, right now, I'm doing my own thing. You know, I got my label, Audio Dream Records. I got a great team. Got some great artists that we're building, and I'm just at a point right now where I don't feel like I can be a legend unless I build my own. You know, so that's one of my main projects, if not my main project. I'm also working with King Los on the management kind of side, and we've been involved with Puff's project. You know, we got like 3 records on that project. I was able to facilitate a lot of business involved with the project as far as Los is concerned. I've been in the studio with Puff and Los, you know, just seeing them work and you know, being involved and with the whole process, watching Puff put together a project, watching Puff mix projects, mix records, and critique records has been amazing. You know what I'm saying? Puff is just how I thought Puff was, you know. Just, he's very detail oriented, you know, but he loves the process. So over the last 5-6 months, I've been, you know, in the studio with Puff, you know, just watching. You know, to be honest, just watching, you know, watching and observing, and you know, and helping Los out, you know, with the business stuff involved in the project. But that's a great project, man, that's coming out, and I think that being involved with that has also helped me build a lot of great relationships. You know, I work with a lot of artists though since, you know, I got on, you know, with R. Kelly. I work with Jeremiah. I work with Eric Bellinger. I work with Ron Isley. I work with Iman and Tiana. Mainly Iman. Tiana produced a record that I A&R'd called Seance. If y'all ever heard that, look it up. Iman Shumpert's Seance. I A&R'd the whole record. But it's been amazing to get to this point to where I want to do my own thing, right? I don't want to chase artists or be around people just because, you know, who've already made it. You know what I'm saying? I want to be around people who are hungry to create something from scratch, and that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing right now with Audio Dream.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, with your label, what are some different things that you're planning or whatever? If you can speak on that.
Yeah, you know, got an artist, man, that's actually in the building right now, Cocaine Poppy. You know, we dropped his first single through the label last summer. You know, we're building him from basically from the ground up. You know what I mean? He has an incredible sound, incredible even fan base, you know, but he's one of the artists that we really believe in, you know what I mean, based on his energy, based on his sound, based on his personality, his integrity. You know, he's like a son to me, you know what I'm saying? So he's somebody that we're very excited about. We signed an R&B artist named Rail Bay from New York. He has some great music. He went on tour with Young and May, I think a year or so ago, 2 years ago. That's how he built his fan base, going on tour. Very good performer. I got an artist I'm developing named Sway, rapper from Brooklyn. You know, just working, really working, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been amazing. Got an artist I'm working with, R&B artist named Porcelain. You know, grown and sexy, kind of SZA vibe, you know what I mean? But it's been amazing, you know, seeing the process, you know, because I have a whole team, and they're very detail-oriented from start to finish, you know, and I'm really just an overseer and, you know, the main investor, of course, but I have a whole team, and it's something that inspires me because these people who are involved in my team, they seen my rise and they seen me climb over the years, so they believe in me, and since they believe in me, they gave my artists a chance, and they heard my artists. Now they believe in my artists because my artists are dope, right? So they're just as excited about the company as I am, you know. And I got other partners that's about to come on board, and it's been a blessing, you know. But that's really my baby right now, Audio Dream Records.
So, moving outside of that, as far as like all the artists, this is probably a tough question. if you had to say out of all the, not your artists, but just artists in the past that you worked with, who's probably the most, I guess you could say, talented artist you worked with?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly, and why?
Man.
I mean, we all know why, but like, what makes you say that? Because you spend a lot of time working with him.
R. Kelly is the most obsessed person I've ever seen with recording. You know, I've never seen nobody record that much and write that much. I've never seen somebody that obsessed with the process, right? There's nothing, I can't even describe this guy's process, you know. And his talent, of course, is unbelievable. Like, he can do any genre of music, hip-hop, opera, gospel, pop. He can do any genre, and it's believable. You know what I'm saying? If you look at his catalog, you can't put him in one lane, even though he's a king of R&B. He's done records with everybody. Michael Jackson to Celine Dion,
Lady
Snoop
Gaga.
Dogg, Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, Ron Isley. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's the most versatile artist in the history of music. But when I got in the studio with him, you know, and I pretty much lived with him, you know what I'm saying, over some years, just every day us grinding, just me and him, right? You know, I had to try to keep up. You know what I'm saying? And I've never seen somebody work harder than me. You know what I mean? And I can say he definitely outworked me every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day. You know what I'm saying? So every day I'm like, I gotta keep up with Rob today. I gotta keep up with Rob today. But his work ethic is unbelievable. You know, it's like it's actually insane, honestly. It's not. He would record 10 to 15 songs a day. You know, Monday through Friday.
Is that something that you try to instill with the artists you work with now, or do you not try to put that much pressure on?
I've tried to instill it. I've tried to let them know what the greats do. And, you know, but everybody has their own process. You know, I would not try to force his process on nobody, because his process is not really realistic. You know what I'm saying? You have to just be that obsessed, you know, because you can't teach somebody to be obsessed with something. You know, him recording was like a drug. You know, I'm gonna be honest. It was like, you know, he'd go somewhere and we'd be together. He'd grab his recorder. Like, you know, I think he's talking on the phone, but he's recording songs. Check this out. Think about that. I listen to it. Like, okay, that's dope. Okay, I'm about to send this to the engineer. We're pulling up to the studio like an hour. Let's record that. You know what I mean? Everywhere we was, I don't care if we was at a party with celebrities, you know, and it's a white party or he's somewhere on his phone like
pulling it out, getting straight to the grind mode. Anywhere.
I'm talking about every day. I don't care what he is, and I'm gonna be honest, y'all. Everybody know what he's going through. Everybody know he's right now is incarcerated. He got an appeal with his case, and that's a whole other conversation. But he has called me while he's in jail, singing songs over the phone for me to record them. For me to record them on my phone so he can have them for later. So he's still doing that.
Man.
You know, and I know that's probably part of his process to just keep his mind, you know, good, you know, while he's going through what he's going through. But before all that happened, I've never seen nobody work that hard. Never, you know. It ain't just in the studio. Outside the studio, he's working hard. He's playing basketball every day. You know, Monday through Friday, every single day, playing basketball. Not just little pickup games. You know, Southside Chicago Wars on the basketball court. And then we go to the studio and do 12, 15 hours in the studio. You know, so that's every day though. That's not like I'm in the mood to go to the studio this week. Every day, his routine was studio and basketball.
It's a weird phenomenon with a lot of artists in basketball or like some type of different. It's like when you have that obsessive trait, it usually goes to other things as well. It's not just. It's like you just have that tendency to do that with anything.
Let me give y'all a story about because y'all probably want to hear the story, guys. So. When I first got on the road with him, we went to New York, and I was staying in Manhattan, you know, and matter of fact, we had a hotel in Manhattan. And my job, of course, as an A&R is to set up the studio for him, find a good studio, make sure he gets the studio booked, make sure he has everything he needs in the studio, make sure, hey, if he's in a mood to do blues, I got to make sure I find blues producers or blues tracks or ideas, you know. If he's in the mood for rap, I got to make sure I call all my rap producers and get all the rap tracks and ideas and make sure I keep him on the right direction. So he will let me know what he want to do, and I have to set it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we in New York, Platinum Sound Productions. Shout out to y'all. I think y'all closed down, but you know, shout out to Platinum Sound Studios, man. Y'all was real hospitable. But I set the studio up. The first day I get to New York, right? And you know, I smoke cigars, he smokes cigars. So we used to go to the cigar lounge and go to the studio. When I first get there, we go to the studio, and we there for an entire day, just recording. Like, we get to the studio like 4 p.m., and we're there till like 4 p.m. the next day. You know, so I'm like, man, I gotta take a shower. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just constant recording. And it was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So, took a little bird bath, you know, brushed my teeth, you know what I'm saying? And we were still recording. You know, so we recorded all the way.
And this your first time working with him?
No, this is my first time being on the road. You know?
Okay.
Because it wasn't, I don't know what hit him when he went to New York. He was going crazy with recording. So we recorded for a whole day at Platinum Sounds. 24 hours, right, just straight recording. And we leave the studio. I'm thinking we're going back to our hotel, get some rest, and start the next day, right? We pass the hotel.
Go straight to the studio again?
No, we go to a mall where they're like honoring him or something like that. So we get to this mall, and there's people that are taking pictures of him. They're giving him free clothes. He actually told me to pick out some stuff. So they're doing like a meet and greet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meet and greet at the mall. And it's the second day in New York. So we there all day at the meet and greet. Leave the meet and greet, we go get some food, you know, and we drive back towards the hotel, past the hotel, go back to the studio. So then we're recording for another 24 hours straight, non-stop.
So now y'all on day
2.
2.
So we start at 4, record till like 4 p.m. the next day, you know, leave for a break to go do something, then come back to the studio. So it's the second day. He's recording non-stop, track after track after track after track, record after record. And I'm getting sleepy. We didn't go to sleep. We get to the studio about 7 o'clock. He record another like 15 straight hours. So we in the studio, second day, just recording constantly. So 2 straight days without going to sleep. So we leave the studio again. And I think we're going back to the hotel finally. Drive past the hotel, go smoke some cigars. You know what I mean? Then he goes and finds the gym and plays basketball. Full court basketball. You know, for hours. Then we leave the basketball gym. He takes a shower at the gym. I leave the basketball gym. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to the hotel. I'm finally get some sleep, right? Past the hotel in Manhattan. Go back to the studio. And recorded for probably another 15, 20 hours. Until he fell asleep on the booth. On the control board, you know. Dozed off. Woke up. Then we finally went to the hotel. So that was my first experience being with him out of town, right? And it just showed me like, man, this guy is insane with this music. You know what I mean? And I don't know if he was trying to test me, but
no, that ain't no testing you. That's most people. I'm gonna be honest. Most people, if you have that in you, that's just in you.
That's in him. That's in him. You know. So it was 3 straight days in the studio. I've never done that on that level.
Yeah, that's the longest.
Yeah, that's the longest I've been.
I've heard of.
Yeah,
too.
3 straight, but not just in the studio, just chilling. I'm talking about
working,
going in the booth, recording a song, pull up another track, recording a song. It was nothing.
So he doesn't do that. One thing I noticed, and I'm not gonna put names out there, but I've been with some big artists in the studios, I'll say a lot of times I think this is a more rapper trait, but it gets to like they'll have like a 10-hour session. They'll literally play that song that they recorded in the first 2 hours for 8 hours. And when I say I could lose my mind in those moments, so it's not none of that. It's actual work getting done.
He will record a song, record an idea, and like I said, he don't write nothing down. Everything he do is freestyle. Everything. He go in the booth, then he write on the mic. So he don't sit there and write a song. You know what I mean? He said, pull it up. He go in there and just start freestyling. You know, so he actually record like a rapper. You know what I mean? So he get an idea, he do the verse, hook, and all that stuff, do some, you know, harmonies and get it sounding right. And he's okay, go to the next track. You know what I mean? So seeing him do that, man, it was just like, wow. You know, I was really tripping to see that level. You know what I mean?
That's a different level.
It's a different level.
So after working with him, so you pretty much have high expectations.
Absolutely.
For
myself and everybody.
For the artists that you worked with and
Right.
everything. So what do you see in the future?
Man, you know, I wanna have some, you know, some R. Kellys, some artists that are driven like that. And I believe I have some. You know, I believe I have that. You know, artists that really love the process, love being in the studio, love, you know, getting things done. You know what I mean? I believe I picked the right team and the right artists. That this is not just about social media, not just about, you know, looking the part, but I haven't had a problem with the artists I'm working with getting in the studio. You know, and I'm a studio rat myself, right? I just love the process. So what's next for me is I want to really push this brand, Audio Dream Records brand, and break my artists. You know, that's my main focus this year. You know, with the help of my team, with the help of different partners, I want to break my artists. I want my artists to, you know, be known around the world. You know, and I want to be able to say that I played a major part in their careers. That's my focus right now.
I love that. And that's a team player, because a lot of people would have answered that completely different. Would have been I, but
yeah, no,
it's about them.
Yeah, I think that, you know, with myself, I'm just like, you know, I believe you're not great until you can help somebody else be great. You know, it's easy to just be an island, but until you can inspire somebody else, you know, you're not great. You know, and I do this for inspiration, because my artists are like my family. I know it's business and etc., but it's like a family thing, because it's not just about just the tracks and the music. It's about building good relationships and inspiring young artists. You know, that's what I want to do. I want artists who work with me, you know, whether they get, you know, famous or not, I want them to say I was very inspired, you know, by the process and by him. You know, being so driven and so serious and so passionate about what he does. You know, that's the game changer for me, because I'm from the hood. And, you know, a lot of guys that I grew up with, man, if they would have had me around, they'd probably be famous or rich or successful, you know, but the streets got them, you know what I'm saying? So that's my inspiration for myself. I want to be able to be of service to other people, you know, and inspire other people to say, you know, I'm going to take my dreams serious. And that's the main thing for me, you know. When I'm dead and gone, I want to say that I inspire people. I want people to say I inspired them.
So what or who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Man.
Or what?
What inspires me? I mean, I'm inspired by a lot of things, you know. I'm inspired by a lot of people as well, like, you know, family, you know, kids. I'm inspired, man, all the time. I get up every day and purposely inspire myself. I listen to like Eric Thomas, Les Brown. There's a guy named Coach Payne I've been listening to. He's like a motivational speaker. I'm inspired, man, by a lot of different things, especially in business. You know, a lot of people who just dominating in the tech world. You know, creating things, and it's becoming global phenomenons overnight. You know, I study all those guys. You know, the tech people, Elon Musk. You know, people like him. You know, I study Forbes. You know what I'm saying? I try to find out who's on the Forbes 100 and why. And it's not about money, but I'm definitely inspired by success. I'm inspired by the idea of having an idea, you know, and executing an idea. And having that idea help somebody else. That's what inspires me, you know. And the last thing really is the opportunities we got, you know, with the internet, everything that's going on in the world right now. You know, we got so much access. So there's really no excuse. If you got an idea, you can get it out to the masses. You know, you actually can. I don't feel limited at all. You know, I don't have a limited bone in my body, you know, as far as where I feel like this is going to end up. You know what I mean? I can end up the black Steve Jobs somewhere, you know. So that's what inspires me, man. Just driving this thing home.
So switching it just a little bit, because I know this is something that, you know, this is Good Vibes, this show. So, you know, we bring the good vibes, and we always, sometimes you got to go a little bit deeper and stuff like that. So something that I know about you, and I know about Los, and I know about certain types of people.
Yeah, and I got to get the Los too.
Definitely. Yeah. So one thing I'm going to say is another thing that really helps you have all this energy. Would you say switching to your diet and like plant-based diet and everything gives you that extra energy and everything?
Absolutely, because you know when I first moved here, I was just a straight carnivore.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? Just a straight carnivore.
If you're from Toledo, I feel like my mom might be like maybe one of the few vegans,
exactly.
Plant-based people in Toledo.
Exactly. You know, but when I moved out here, something about the climate here, it makes you want to do better. You know what I mean? Because it's, you know, where I'm from, no offense, it's a very, it's a dark place. You know, it's a very limited place. And there's not a lot of different variations of things, you know. So here, I was open to a lot of different things because there's so many varieties of options, you know, of lifestyles, not just diet, just lifestyles. You meet people with different lifestyles. So I started to meet a lot of vegans, you know, and people who were vegetarians and vegans. And, you know, the food I started to bring around started to get clowned. You know what I'm saying? If I bring in some Wendy's or something, like, man, you eating that death? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what can I say? And one thing about me, I never want to feel stupid, you know. And when people start to articulate certain things to me that make sense, I have to digest that information. Because I love the idea of elevating my own mind. And I don't like the idea of people being around me who's on such a different level as far as information. And I'm just around these people and not taking in no information. Then what's the point of being around them, you know?
Really?
So I started being around a lot of vegan people. And it inspired me because I started to see different things about them, you know, and how passionate they were about it. Then I started to research, and it started to make sense for me, you know. I'm still a big guy, you know, I still got, you know, weight on me, you know what I'm saying? But I feel so much better when I change my diet, even spiritually and mentally, you know. And first I went into being a pescatarian, you know. I started a pescatarian diet, and that was different, you know. But then I went totally vegetarian and now vegan, you know, where I cut out some things I was eating, like, you know, cheese and dairy and stuff like that. I tried to eliminate those out of my diet. I found a lot of great vegan restaurants out here, and it's been amazing, you know. But it's been a process, you know. The most challenging times with that diet is when I was in Chicago.
Yeah, it's always the hardest when you're traveling, I noticed.
Yeah, when I was working a lot in Chicago.
What's your go-to, like, if you were to be eating whatever, what would be your old go-to? Was it like Harold's or something?
It was Gino's Pizza from Toledo. That was my go-to. I love the Gino's all meat pizza. You know what I'm saying? Or the Gino's pizza with but I do pepperoni and beef. You know what I'm saying? That was my go-to when I was in Toledo. But when I went to Toledo, I tried to find something that was like Geno's. You know what I mean? I wasn't a big chicken person. I was more like burgers and pizzas. You know what I'm saying? So now that I'm vegan, I can eat plant-based burgers and chicken and pizza, not chicken, burgers and pizza. So I've been able to do that, man, and it's been very helpful. You know, with how I feel about myself. You know, that's the main thing about life. It's not about just I'm just trying to be the most healthiest person in the world, because you go outside and breathe, that's not even healthy. You know
Not
what I'm
in
saying?
LA,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
you're never gonna be 1,000% healthy, but if you give your body an opportunity to do what it needs to do, you can live a very healthy life. You know what I'm saying? Because your body is made to fight off bacteria and stuff like that. So if you give the army inside your body the equipment it needs, you're gonna win. You're gonna live a long, healthy life. So, but if you're fighting against that army every second, eventually it's gonna catch up with you. That's how I look at it. You know, we got an army of cells in our body that's designed to make sure we're healthy, but we can't fight against it.
Absolutely not.
You know? So that's my perspective.
So, I know we have a special guest here. We got to get you in here real quick.
Absolutely.
We got Cocaine Poppy. Very, very, very talented artist. If y'all don't know about him right now, mark my words, y'all will be knowing about him very soon.
Absolutely.
High energy, good music, and just got the star appeal. So we gonna bring him in real quick.
Plug music.